Hello, good morning, and welcome to another video. As a matter of fact, let me spit this gum out so we don't turn into a cow in this video. Good morning, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about what do I do with these kids when I don't have no coins, okay, on school breaks. So if that interests you, stay tuned for this video. Now, what I was going to do, if I'm honest with you, is put together like how do you save money for a vacation, and then how do you choose a vacation budget friendly. And I might still do that for you, but I feel like this is more realistic, especially because to my surprise, spring break is quickly approaching, okay? So you might be able to put together like a little vacation, something for summertime because we have a little time to plan for it. But when I was doing that video, I told you guys of a story, and that story was, I went on this, I planned this elaborate vacation for the family, and it was during income tax time and spring break time. It's around the same time. And I don't know if they intentionally did this to take all your money, but girl, don't let them do it. Okay. Cause we're going to talk about a few things here today. But I remember it was one year I had just gotten married. The kids were that age where it's like, oh, we got to find something to do. And we spent a little over $3,000 to go to this place called Great Wolf Lodge. Now, it's a indoor water park, and we had to travel a little bit to get to it, but I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. I bought all the little packages. I did all these little things, right? Planning this elaborate vacation that honestly we could not afford. And what do you mean that you spent this money for, but you couldn't afford it? If you can't take care of everything else that you need to take care of and still spend this kind of money on anything, doesn't matter if it's not a vacation, that means that you can't afford it. Because let me tell you, when we came back from that vacation, tell me why the lights turned off. Now, the lights didn't turn off because we didn't have the money for it. The lights were off because we did not plan for them to be paid before we left. This is irresponsibility. And yes, I was a lot younger back then, but I don't want you to do what I was doing. So let's talk about some things here that just make, when the kids, if you have kids and you're watching me right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When the kids are out of school, and let's say you're like, I told you in the other video, you don't have food stamps and all this kind of stuff. And you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to keep these kids entertained? How am I going to, maybe even teach them? How am I going to feed them when I don't have any resources? Okay, I'm drowning here. I want to help you out there. And this is going to be a very realistic video. Like I said, I think we'll still do the vacation video because I've already have it planned. But what can you do now? Okay, let's talk about a few things. The first thing we're going to talk about is meals, because if you know anything, that is, meals is the biggest expense. So what I like to do is take every single day that the kids are going to be home and physically plan out a meal. Now, I mentioned this in the grocery shopping video. When I say physically do the meal plan, I mean what I showed you in that video. You need to plan it out physically. That way you're able to compile a grocery list of what you need, and you can see if you can actually afford the meal plan that you have set. Now, just as a general rule, I like to have breakfast staples, which I also showed you in that other video. You choose whatever works for your home, but I like to have breakfast staples like eggs, like sausage, things that you like, things that your children like. And our breakfast staples are going to remain the same for the break. Now, lunch is the thing that I have to plan very strategically because I already make dinner. So what I'm going to do is just do dinner as I always do it. But lunch is something totally separate because lunch is usually like my daughter packs her lunch and then my son eats lunch at school. So lunch, I really don't have to worry about through the day. But when they're on a break, I do have to worry about it. So I planned it out. Here's a sample meal sample that I put together, and that is tacos for lunch, fruit, and sparkling water. Now, I don't need to tell you that fruit is good for your kids to have. Definitely fruit. And I like to do sparkling water. I don't like to do like a ton of juice. I also mentioned this for you in that video. I like to make like little homemade juices, whether you put a little, or like homemade sodas, you put a little of the little squeezy juice inside some sparkling water. But honestly, if I'm going to splurge and buy sparkling water, that's going to be like the special drink. It's not full of sugar. It's just something like special. It definitely adds to the meal. I have it with my lunch, and I'll splurge for it for them for the break. Now, you can get them on sale. I think they're between like $4 and $5, and there's enough in there for the break, I guess, depending on how many children you have, obviously. But that's a sample meal plan. The next one is sandwiches, because I already have stuff for sandwiches and smoothies. Okay, so I only need to get a few ingredients for the smoothies. The next thing is noodles. Now, I told you guys this. I was one of those parents excuse me, who said, you know, my kids ain't gonna be eating noodles. Noodles are bad for you. And then I remember how much I liked noodles when I was growing up. Okay, kids like noodles. Kids like noodles, and what I do is just try to make sure that it's balanced by giving them noodles, and then I paired the noodles with the smoothie as well. And then the next day I have cheeseburger and fries. Now what I did here was use a meal that can use the same meat as another meal that I made. So tacos and cheeseburgers, obviously, it's both ground meat. Whether you want to get ground turkey, whatever, that's your personal preference. But then I only need to get a few other things, okay? So I already have cheese and all this kind of thing. So all I need to get is ground beef for our tacos and our cheeseburger, taco shells, which I actually already have some in the refrigerator, which is more than enough, so I actually don't need to get that. But I'm going to go ahead and just get the taco kit just in case we want to like stretch it out for dinner. The sparkling water, frozen spinach for the smoothies because I already have the fruit. And just to like get them to get extra fruits and vegetables, I'm going to sneak it in that smoothie. Okay. Fries. I do have potatoes. I usually always have potatoes, and I can make homemade fries, but to save time and just as a little treat, because they don't normally have them, I'm going to go ahead and buy like the fries that are already made. I like to get those, the fast food Ore-Ida ones when I do buy fries, and then hamburger buns. So because burgers are only on here one day, which I also might stretch that out to dinner. So they had it for lunch, and then my husband and I'll have it for dinner. I might just go ahead and get the whole bag of buns. Here's the total for how much I think I'm going to spend on all those items. And on my list, I put prices by each one of those. So remember what I told you, I'll go to the grocery store with this list, and if it costs more than I have on here, and I priced it high, if it costs more than what I have on here, I'm not picking it up. We'll have to reassess, okay? Because this is the total that I said I would spend. So that's how I do food. Snacks, they already have their same snacks because that's incorporated in the grocery bill. I don't use school breaks as a time to like let them eat a bunch of junk food. I really try to use it as a time to let them have a bit more self-control, because I think especially the younger kids, they eat a lot more junk food at school than is necessary. And yeah, so they don't do that at home. Okay, so let's go to the next point, and that is activities. That's important. So I used to be one of these parents that I thought every activity needs to be done outside the home, and every activity need to cost money or it wasn't fun. And if you have the coins to spend on that, or if you want to spend your money that way, that's on you. But let me tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. Even if your child's the only child, you could teach them how we gonna do this, okay? And if your child is like my children, which they're very far apart in the age, so they don't take interest in the same activities, you're just gonna have to strategize. So I have an activity here that I like to do. You're gonna have to base this on what your children like to do. And let me tell you, if you never actually told your children like, hey, this is what we gonna do, this is your options, you might have a hard time with this. If you're always running out to, take them to the next place that you have to pay for, they're going to have a problem doing these activities in home. But that's something that you're going to have to work on with them. The first thing is coloring book. Now I put $6 by a coloring book because we already have more than enough art supplies. That's what we call it, art supplies. I'm just going to just make it a little bit more special and pick up, maybe they have a new coloring book that we both would like. I usually do the coloring with her because I like, art myself. And what we'll do is we'll set up what we call our art room. We'll set up this cart. I have this cart with art supplies. We'll put all the art supplies that we have there, and we'll make it like a day. We'll make it something fun to do, to where it's so fun she actually asked to do it. Now notice I said she, because my son he's not at the age where he's interested. Okay, so like I said, you're gonna have to assess your children, and I'm not going to show you the art cart because I don't want you to feel like, oh, if my art cart doesn't look like yours, if I don't have the supplies that you have, then it's not good enough. No, I'm not going to do that. So I also wanted to put this in here just for those of you who are like, I'm actually not about to be sitting around coloring. I have a little slime section where you can make slime. Slime is very inexpensive to make. I got this from the Dollar Tree. Some glue that I've been having for quite some time. When it's school time, these things are on sale, and I buy them with this in mind. This is starch, and as you know, this is just how you make slime. There's stuff down here to make slime, including the little things that you put inside of it. So you just find what activity your children would like that they would like. And if you don't know because you've never done it, try something. Okay. So the next thing is board games. I also have purchased these before, so I don't need to buy them. But this is something, I'm not telling you to run out and buy all this stuff now. These are things that you can have in your lineup of things so that when the children do spend extended time at home, and even for the weekend, I do these activities on the weekends or just when I have off time, just to do something special with the children that doesn't cost me, money. Another thing is the park. Parks are free, if you didn't know. Parks are free. And what I did was I bought a scooter. Now, a scooter is a one-time cost. I'm not telling you to go out and buy no scooter. Okay, scooter is a one-time cost, a little $30. And when you go outside, you can make it an extra fun event by letting them ride the scooter at the park. And this is also a good time for them to get some exercise, okay? Just saying. Some other things you can do is you can learn how to do hair. Okay, you could take the time that your children are off to do something special to their hair. You can learn how to braid hair. This could be your moment to learn how to braid. You can find something to do. You can learn how to do something. You guys can, knit. There's a little loom knitters. You can learn to crochet. You can pick up a skill that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Okay, you can find something to do with your children inside the home that does not cost you an arm and a leg. You can teach these kids how to read. Okay, you guys can do something fun. You can learn how to read. You guys can make especially you have younger kids, even though I've noticed that there's a trend of older children that don't know how to read either. Reading is fundamental. Reading is essential. So you can make it fun. You can they could win little rewards and things like that. You could teach them how to read. And speaking of make it fun, I'm going to get my little chart here. I want to show you something. Give me a second. Alrighty, I have this here. Now, I wasn't actually planning to show you this, but I'm just going to show it to you. And this is a little chart that I made, and it says you can do it at the top. I don't know if I actually made this or I found it. Of course, I made the little things at the bottom, but I don't know where I got it from. And if I can link it for you down below, I'll link it for you. It'll be free, girl. It's not a big old deal. I laminated it, and then I made it like a little maze, right? So I try to use this for school, one, because incentives are nice. This is just something in the disciplinary arsenal, right? Like if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, you're giving your teacher a hard time, you're giving other people a hard time, we're going to have to address that because that's really not what I'm sending you to school to do. Okay, I'm sending you to school to learn. I'm not sending you to school to give your teacher or anybody else a hard time. So there are consequences for bad behavior. And parents who don't let their children know that there are consequences for bad behavior, you're setting your children up for failure. Okay, and there's a punishment for you for setting them up for failure. I just want you to know that because that's what we do here on this channel. We let you know the truth. Okay, and I wish somebody would tell me the truth. Okay, so I'm gonna sit here and tell you the truth. But I made this little chart, and at the bottom, which you can't see, is all of her favorites. This made me feel like I don't have to do, you see all this stuff down here? I was just doing this stuff, every weekend, every time I felt like it, and it was spending a lot of money. So I like this chart because it actually gives her a sense of, I actually earned what it is that I'm getting, and then it gives me time to plan for what it is that she wants. So she gets to pick what it is that she would like to put here, okay? She gets to choose it. So I didn't choose Chili's. She chose Chili's. And then, when you say Chili's, that means everybody got to eat out of Chili's. So that's nice that we get some time to plan that there. But just find a way to, find something to incentivize the children. And sometimes it's you that need sometimes it's you that need the extra motivation, okay, to do what you said that you were going to do because the children have been working. You know how long it takes to get all the way down there? The children been working for it, and sometimes it's you that needs to be a woman of your word or man of your word, whoever is watching. Again, the children are older and you haven't done anything to discipline them. You might find it a bit difficult, but it doesn't mean impossible. Difficult doesn't mean impossible, especially when you have teenagers. You think this interests a teenager? You think this interests my son? It does not. So you have to find something that's going to give you your desired outcome, okay? And I don't think, because you're watching this video, I don't think your desired outcome is spending all your coins, okay? So I hope this video was helpful. It was quick and to the point. But as always, if you have a question, ask one, and I'll see you in the next video.